Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Aaron Sims, the Rare Plant Program Director of the California Native Plant Society. Thank you, Israel, for inviting me to present at the Now the Good News session, moving towards the end of this symposium, and I hope you've enjoyed the conference so far. I'm speaking to you pre-recorded from Weaverville, California, where lands are managed by the Northern Wintu, Hupa, and Yurok tribes of California, and I just wanted to show my respect to the indigenous tribes and my appreciation for the management of the land that they've provided for us. Today I'm going to be speaking about the CNPS Rare Plant Inventory and its major updates. It went under a 2-year hiatus and was recently fully launched in a new web app and database in June of 2021. I'm going to provide you with information about what the inventory is in case you've never heard of it or haven't ever used it before. Then I'm going to go over a live demo and show you some of the search ways to search it and display results. And then I'm going to go over a couple of the major questions I receive a lot about the inventory. And the first question being why we only include or allow searches and include data for locations at the quad level and why we don't allow for more specific searches. And then I'm going to go over how the inventory data is different from the natural diversity database and rare find application and what data we include that they don't. So what is the online inventory? It's the most up-to-date publicly available resource for California rare plants. And it guides rare plant education, protection, and conservation planning in the state of California. It includes California rare plant ranks, which are administered by both the CNPS Rare Plant Program and the Natural Diversity Database. And these rare plant ranks are afforded protections under CEQA and other legislation. And so it does have this professional use case where people use it for compliance with environmental law. And very importantly, the inventory includes over 2,000 rare plants that are not state or federally listed under the Endangered Species Act. And so the process of the status reviews and including plants in the inventory can help provide protections for these over 2,000 plants that otherwise may not receive them as not being officially listed under the Environmental Species Acts. So next I'm going to provide an overview and a live demo of the inventory. So here's a display of the homepage of the new inventory. And we have a new About section where you can read details about the inventory, release notes, and a full glossary that's been updated. Here you'll see we have a list of all the changes that are by date, and you can sort by the changes or deletions by date. And it's sorted by scientific name by default. And I'll go ahead and I'll click on the date for Agrostics to show you the results. And it pops up the status review document for when that taxon underwent a status review change in the inventory. We're back at the homepage and we have a new help section that gives you provide a background and details on how to do searches. And here's the simple search page. And unlike the previous version, you can actually make multi-criterion searches now. So if you wanted to search for all 1B plants, say in Butte County, you can do that. It's no longer limited to one or the other. And here's what the results looks like. So we have a whole new section at the top, which I'll show you in a second here. And all of these top titles here you see that I'm kind of overviewing are buttons to turn on and off. So I just turned on microhabitats and I'm going to remove family and life form. And I'm kind of just showing you how you can click on and off these different areas of interest. And I'll go ahead and turn on California endemic. And then I'll show you, you can also sort by alphabetically by title header just by clicking on the column headers. And you can also move different sections to wherever you want. So if I want to put the common name first, I can move it over there. If I want to move the rank to be after that, and so forth. And so I'm going to go ahead and kind of further refine this and narrow it down. And this can be helpful for people that need to print out results as a PDF or to save the results for reporting, as it can give you a nice clean look. You can also export the results and it downloads in an Excel file. And this contains all the data on the rare plants in your search. So we're not leaving or skipping anything out here. This is everything that's included in the database. If I want to click on a plant here, I'm clicking on Butte County Meadow Foam. And just to give you an idea of how the plant detail pages look, a couple of new things are we include links to the USDA plants site via the USDA plant symbols. So that's how that works. I'm going to go back to the results here. And then we also include status of seed collection. So SB stands for seed banked. And here we see Cal Botanic Gardens is the seed bank facility. And if we click on that, it provides a link to the glossary, which will give you the definitions of all the categories of seed banked. And these are all the institutions that are part of the California Plant Rescue where we bank rare plant seeds. Scrolling down, you'll notice the notes, and we also still include the occurrence data from the CNDB. And down to location, we have an overview of the counties and quads of where the plant occurs in the state. And here's the updated quad map, which you can add, go to satellite view or topo, and you can print. You can print this out or save it as a PDF and into a nicer format if you just want the map. And going back up to the top here, I'm going to show you what the report looks like. You can download a report for every plant detail you want, and it comes up with a consistently formatted report that's a PDF you can download or print and add to your other existing reports or save as you wish. Next, I'm going to go to the advanced search and just show you some of the features, mostly focusing on the quad search and show you what that looks like. So I'll start out just by searching a couple of the 1B and 2B categories of endangerment there. And there's other status, conservation status categories you can choose from, as you see. And down here, I'm going to go and I'm going to navigate to the Chico Quad, because this is where the conference would normally be held, is in Chico. So I'll show you how that looks. And I'm just kind of moving around with my mouse on the map here, and I'm going to select the Chico Quad, and you see it pops up on the left with the quad name and the code. And on the right, there's a number 5, and those are the results. There's 5 plants that are known to occur in the Chico Quad, and you click the results, and here you go. It's back to the search results page that I was showing you earlier. So now I'm going to go into the backend features, and I'm going to log in and show you how we update data and what it looks like when you're an admin, a staff member, or a dedicated volunteer to update data in the online inventory. So it's combined within the web app. So here's the data maintenance function of the site, where you have to have a secured login to get into. And the plant maintenance is where you go to add a new plant. So that's what I would do if we're going to be adding a plant to the database. And the database maintenance is where we upload county and quad and element occurrence information from the natural diversity database. And we have a new report section where we can bring up results of any missing data, which will help us make sure that we're not omitting any data and keeping everything as up to date as possible. And just wanted to show you, here's a report from Dana York that's submitted to the online field survey forum. And we'll notice here that Copeland Speedwell has a date of July with 100% blooming, and there's 300 plus individuals that Dana observed that day. And so I'm going to go back and I'm going to search for this Veronica in the inventory, and I'm logged in now. And so I'm going to go to the results, and you'll see here that there's a blooming period of August. And so I'm going to update that in order to include July based on this field survey form that Dana submitted to the Natural Diversity Database. So all data that's submitted to CNDB gets utilized by CNPS and vice versa. So here I'm going to go in and I'm just adding July. Now I'll back out and get back to the public detail page to show you how that looks. And here you see now that it no longer only includes August, it includes July and August as a blooming period. And that's as simple as it is for us to update the data. It's immediate and it goes live. So it's very helpful and quick to keep providing most up-to-date information about rare plants. So next in my presentation, I'm going to describe why we only include broad searches of rare plants. And there's a couple of good reasons for this. So here's, you can obviously do more refined searches in other online tools such as CalFlora. Here's where you can actually search by using a polygon. But we don't allow this for a couple of major reasons. And first is that CNPS quads are sourced from the Natural Diversity Database. And here's what I showed you before, where we actually import all that data directly from the Natural Diversity Database. And CNPB contains all known sensitive plant locations in one place from every source available. And so we don't want to provide that information publicly all at once for the status of sensitive plants. Access to the detailed information is by subscription only. And sensitive data is also submitted to CNPB by some people with the understanding that it is not something that's publicly available. So locations of plants on private properties and sensitive locations that they don't want to disclose publicly, they'll still provide to the CNPB, and that's why we don't provide that information publicly in the inventory. And we also have to conform to the license agreement and data use guidelines from the Natural Diversity Database, which would definitely not allow us to provide public information about their detailed plant locations. So the second major reason is to comply with the CNPS and the Department of Fish and Wildlife Botanical Survey protocols and guidelines. And the guidelines tell us that surveys must be floristic in nature. And this means that every plant in a project area is identified to the level necessary to determine rarity and listing status. And what this entails is that focus surveys that are restricted to lists of likely potential species that are rare are not adequate. And so the surveys also tell you that you need to develop a list of special status plants with the potential to occur in a project area within a quad, surrounding quads and counties. And so this means that in order to comply with the survey guidelines and survey protocols, you cannot do these types of refined surveys, and you must you must do searches that are more broad based on within a quad or surrounding quads. And then the resulting list should only be used as a tool to facilitate the use of reference sites. And it's important to understand that special status plants in the project area may not be limited to those on the list. I just want to mention a side note about quad searches, and that is that all quads that coincide within those areas of CNPB occurrences will display in search results. And this is also true for RareFind, which is an application available from the Natural Diversity Database. An example here is of the Dees Peak quad for Shasta K and Actis. I'm just going to go over this here real quick. Here's the BIOS system from the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. And this is a secure BIOS where you log in and to subscribers. And so here I have occurrence number 1 for Shasta K and Actis. And you can see that it's just very slightly going over that Dees Peak quad. This is the Dees Peak quad here. And you can just see that it's just barely eking into there. And what that means is that when you go back and you search the online inventory, if you search for Dees Peak, as we have done here, you'll see that Shasta K and Actis shows up in the results. And again, this will also happen in RareFind. So it can be, I don't want to say misleading, but it's representative of those polygon features. Now I'm going to describe the data that's different in the CNPB than RareFind and some other products out there, and what data we manage separately. So the CNPS Rare Plant Program manages and maintains taxon-specific data. So we're only looking at the whole species as a whole and updating data about the whole species, while the CNPB manages and maintains specific occurrence level information and data about rare plants and also animals. So here's a screenshot of the plant detail pages for Red Mountain Catchfly, which we recently re-ranked and renamed. And I'm just going to highlight some of the areas that of data and information that's in the inventory, but not in the CNPB. So we include the full scientific name, that's not in the Natural Diversity Database. We also include that USDA plant symbol and link that I showed you earlier. And we include synonyms and other names of the plants that have already been included in the database. It's not an exhaustive list, but we do include synonyms of past names used. And we include the dates of official state and or federal listing status. So this plant was added to the endangered species list in 1982. We also include details about the changes in California rare plant rank and the dates of when those changes occurred. And also when the plants were officially added to the inventory and the natural diversity database. And then we include blooming periods. Those aren't included in the natural diversity database. And down as we scroll down on the plant detail page, you'll see kind of a more comprehensive notes section where we include references to taxonomic treatments and revised nomenclature. And we also include statistics here on the right from natural diversity database element occurrence information. So this information is provided in the natural diversity database, but it's not summarized in this way. So here we have, you can see that the total historical occurrences are 4 and total recent are 7, and how many are, the summation of how many are presumed extant versus extirpated and so forth. And soon to come, we will also have the status review documents available to download right from the plant detail pages in the conservation status section. So here you see these little arrows here to download, and those will become available on the site pretty soon. And last but not least, we're also adding a selected reference section at the bottom of every plant detail page, where we'll include details about important references and links and or downloads to open source documents that are specific to each rare plant and of importance. Thank you very much. I wanted to specifically thank our major contributors, the state of California, the Center for Plant Conservation, and the California Plant Rescue Initiative, who funded the majority of the database and the web app, and also the Pacific Southwest region of the U.S. Forest Service, who without their help, we really couldn't have gotten this underway and completed as soon as we did. And thanks to all of our additional contributors, as you see below. And I hope you'll enjoy the rest of your Tuesday here at the symposium, and look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks.